Marvel's participation trophy winner of 2025. You remember, this is supposed to be the qualitative high watermark for the year, even though it's going to end up having the lowest box office. Actually, at this point in time, no, it's been confirmed to have the lowest box office because, yeah, it's heading on over to D plus in a couple of short weeks. And that's interesting, right? Because I kind of thought that this thing was already done and dusted. Like, nobody talked about it after the first week, even though it was an absolute triumph. It was, the first and best example of quality over quantity coming out of Marvel. And when you factor in everyone at Marvel, actually everybody making superhero movies this year have been lying directly in your face. They've been pissing on your head and then expecting you to take out an umbrella and think that it's an unusually warm rain. At least now you'll be able to see it for yourself, apparently. Because nobody could be asked to turn out to the theater for this one because it's kind of interesting, and you're even starting to see the Access media that was praising this movie to hell and back have to reconcile with reality. So Marvel fans, yes, looking to get another glimpse of the newest Avengers, the newest Avengers, huh? That's interesting. Can check out Thunderbolts, right, because we don't call them the new Avengers because that rebranding campaign didn't exactly work out all that well on D+, beginning August 27th. Actually, that's now to be completely fair, right? Because this came out in, oh god, now even I'm forgetting that. Didn't it come out in May or something like that? So yeah, 3 months later, then it heads on streaming. That's not bad, right? I'm just glossing over all of the Chris Stuckman, this is who starred in the Marvel ensemble piece, this is who directed, and these were the producers on the project. Yeah, we don't really need to see any of that shit. I'm just glossing over to what I think is probably the most interesting aspect to this, but Thunderbolts grossed $382 million worldwide. Aw, shucks. While that number meant the movie lost Disney money during the theatrical release. Oh, what? We're talking about how movies that fail to turn a profit as a result of not doubling their production budget, because last I remember, the Thunderbolts would at least cop to, and yeah, most of it was filmed in the UK, so we're eventually going to get those numbers. They came out and have that boilerplate answer of $200 million for a production budget. So for all of those misleading profiles on social media saying, oh, it made $382 million at the worldwide box office, its production budget was $200 million, how they're just trying to trick the 60 IQ brainlets that are out there reposting all of the Marvel or DC or pick your franchise slop in order to use it as a replacement for an actual personality. It'll go ahead and trick those morons, but the people that can connect two dots know that theaters don't operate as charities, and they're going to take half of those profits made at the box office, meaning, oh geez, depending on how splits work out, you're going to have to double or double and a half the box office totals in order to turn a profit. But now we're starting to see, and I'm waiting for the day that all of those novelty popcorn buckets and all of that other swag that's out there eventually gets rolled into the box office numbers to cope and compensate for these lagging superhero numbers. Because yeah, $382 million for the Thunderbolts. What was it? Four and change for Captain Black Falcon America Man, which was, oh yeah, if we go to read just a little bit more of this, Disney lost money on the Thunderbolts, but critical reviews and fan word of mouth was largely positive for the movie. That was seen as getting Marvel back on track after duds. Variety, didn't you guys also like Captain America Brave New World? And the Marvels, interesting. The marketing for the film focused less on connections to other Marvel films. Let's just go back and take a look at the cast that's right there. Right, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Okay, Sentry's at least new. I'll go ahead and give you that one. But Yelena, in order to get yourself up to speed on her, you have to watch Black Widow and you have to watch Hawkeye. Oh yeah, and U.S. Agent right there, John Walker, who did nothing wrong, by the way. You have to go back and watch another TV show as well. You have to throw in Bucky, and if you want to put on all of his legacy, if you're brand new to the MCU, however that happens to come about, you got to go back and you got to watch First Avenger, Winter Soldier, Civil War. Not exactly saying, starting all that stuff out, just implying that you have to watch that stuff. Outside of maybe one of those films, you're going to have a good time, And then all of the Avengers movies as well. And that same TV show that John Walker gets introduced. But yeah, you really don't have to worry about those other connections for the new Avengers. Fucking Christ, man. Just the sweeping that is being done for all of these underperforming films is fucking hilarious this year. But yes, and the production team also worked on Beef for Netflix. Where's the beef? as with the Thunderbolts or New Avengers or the X-Men. Apparently. Christ almighty, man. But yes, the Thunderbolts, by the way, will end with the second worst MCU box office. Only the Marvels did worse. Ladies and gentlemen, Marvel is in trouble. Okay, and if they were going to follow up 2025 with a similar slate for 2026, they might learn something. But as we all know, 2026 is going to be a bit of an outlier, and even, God, you could even say into 2027. Well, definitely you could say into 2027 as well, because you got Doomsday that's going to be coming out at the tail end of the year if it doesn't just outright get delayed, and then you're also going to have Spider-Man at the midway through the year, right? Because it's coming out at the tail end of July. But yes, all of those box office receipts, and even if you want to factor in that Sony's going to end up making most of the money off of Spider-Man, it's definitely going to be It's going to be, yes, an outlier year, because Avengers, Doomsday is looking like a dumpster fire. Okay, an absolute dumpster fire. We'll get to that very shortly. And then Spider-Man, there generally seems to be pretty decent word of mouth around that film right now. Like, people seem fairly genuinely enthusiastic about it. It might be good, it might be bad. It's by the director that did Shang-Chi, if anybody remembers that fucking early stage 4 slop. But okay, cool. Like, Tom Holland is pretty decent in the role. We're gonna have a very, 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 very minimal Zendaya. I thought I seen that, she was only supposed to be a part of one scene, and then she's gonna be Vamos. We're moving on to Gwen Stacy, apparently. All right, cool, fantastic. But yes, 2026 is going to be a year where the MCU is going to have collective amnesia, because Spider-Man could end up making $1 billion. Would I be surprised? No. Would I be surprised if it absolutely fails? More so. I would be far more surprised if it ends up on equal footing with the only other piece of Marvel slob that everybody's forgot about at this point in time, mostly because audiences definitely did, and we're even talking about the beginning, because, yeah, there's another film we're going to be talking about later in the day, and, well, quite frankly, it's performing even better than the Fantastic Four, especially at this point in time, and even with the legs getting cut out from underneath of it. But yeah, it's underperforming expectations. It's not going to hit $500 million. So yes, the Fantastic Four is going to fantastically make $400 million. Absolutely insane. But I guess that's largely due to the international box office just having a anti-American sentiment, right? Because that's what it's got to be, right? Couldn't be that this is just once again another bad movie. But yeah, this is what you're going to get for these non-team up and non-nostalgia baiting Marvel movies, superhero movies. It's going to be tough to see, right? We're definitely going to get confirmation on that next year, because all of the ball washing that is being done for DC right now, yeah, it's going to get flip reversed onto Marvel, and we're going to see how big of a downgrade the DCU is going to be getting when they can't rely simply on, hey, we're starting off a new franchise. All right, you're continuing it. How well is that going to continue? But like I said, we'll talk about that later in the day. Marvel, well, they have to look forward and they have to have their eyes on the future, because the present fucking sucks, if we're going to be completely honest. 2025 was supposed to be a big year. It was supposed to be, hey, we're kicking off a new phase. We're starting the new quality over quantity aspect of our business model. Take a look at the 3 movies we're pumping out and the 5 TV shows we have this year. But don't worry, for all of the delays for 2026, still set up to have 3 movies and 5 TV shows. But yeah, it's quality over quantity, right? But yes, speaking of quality over quantity, we have another name theoretically to add to Avengers Doomsday cast, because I guess, and this is from reports, okay, some people who have inside sources, they said that Ryan Reynolds, remember, if you go back to earlier this year, hell, at the beginning of the year, when they did that goofy ass chair stream every, 5 minutes or something like that, they'd pan over to a new name on a stupid director's chair, and then all the way at the end of that 5-hour-long live stream, it was revealed that, hey guys, Doomsday is now in production because Robert Downey Jr. is here, and oh my god, it's gonna be so great. But a couple of names were conspicuous in their absence, but apparently their chairs were filmed, which is such a wild sentence to say, but yes, Hugh Jackman was one of those names. Chris Pratt was one of those names. I think there was somebody else in there as well who was a minor character, but the fourth chair, as there were four that were there that didn't get revealed, was in fact Ryan Reynolds, and everybody speculated at the time, well, it's probably simply because some contracts are going on at this point in time, and well, when everything was going on like this, a lot of that Baldoni and Blake Lively shit was going on, so yeah, Ryan was probably a little bit preoccupied with his lawyers before he could get them to work out on this new Avengers contract. But now apparently the T's have been crossed, the I's have been dotted, and yeah, in this already bloated cameo fest, you're going to be getting the fourth wall breaking, played out joke machine that is Deadpool. What the fuck are we doing? Okay, Ryan Reynolds teases Deadpool and Avengers teams up amid Doomsday production because, yeah, that's what we need, right? But okay, for as much as I'm not enthusiastic about it because I don't like Deadpool, I hate those fourth wall breaking retard characters, and I don't even like Ryan Reynolds like that. Okay, Van Wilder was what, like 20 years ago at this point in time, and he's been doing that exact same shtick ever since. I'm good, man. Okay, I was already put off by Avengers. You don't have to continue to talk me out of the theater, all right? That's a fan-pleasing addition. This one right here, well, this is another fourth wall breaking idiot, and the one that you could say, like, there's a couple of different points along the MCU's timeline within the past couple of years that was one of those, oh shit, we fucked up tremendously. You could say how they handled a lot of the send-offs with Endgame. I would probably walk it back a couple of releases and say Captain Marvel was probably when he hit the iceberg. Endgame was when he began to start to take on a bunch of water. And then, I forget what came first. Was it Multiverse of Madness or was it the Eternals? Because by that point in time, yeah, things were already irreversible. But in between there, you got this a little rallying cry, unlike everything else that Marvel has put out in the past couple of years where you didn't have anybody defend this slop. I'm sure that there were probably some feminist activists that were out there. There's probably a minuscule voice, which is generally what happens with a lot of these Marvel shills, but at least they get good traction on social media, so it looks like they have more support than they actually do. But when it came to She-Hulk coming around, nobody defended that show. Nobody wanted that show to succeed because it was vitriolic, it was spiteful, it was just like, it was bad. There was nothing redeemable about that at all whatsoever, and the more distance that they put between that abomination and the present, the better the MCU would be. But if you remember after that chair stream, okay, just jumping through the timeline and all that stuff, but follow me on this one, we got a leak of some production art, okay, for Avengers Doomsday, or maybe for the Avengers project, whatever the Russo brothers and Robert Downey Jr. is working on, because you got concept art for like Emperor Doom, Lieutenant Strange, and a whole bunch of other crap like that. There was supposed to be some kind of new resurgent Wakanda with a new Black Panther. You had a bunch of the young Avengers around a table with Star-Lord there and Vision, and it's like, okay, that's all, yeah, it all makes sense. None of it looks all that appealing, but okay, if that's what you're going to be going for, of course, it's concept art, so we don't get all of the connecting threads that are going to be there outside of, yeah, we're probably going to have little epochs, little teams that are going to eventually, fold together into a greater, more cohesive story by the time we get around to transition on to Secret Wars. But one of those other stills that was out there was Hulk and She-Hulk theoretically on planet Hulk. It's like, oh great, so okay, Mark Ruffalo's and Hulk is going to be coming back, but his name wasn't on one of those chairs. But it was it was rumored around this time, and then it has later been confirmed that he's going to be in Spider-Man, which is supposed to be running concurrently with the events of Doomsday, to explain, why isn't Spider-Man a part of the Avengers story going on right there. He's got other things to do at that point in time. But yes, with She-Hulk there, it's like, oh god, are you guys actually dumb enough to do this stuff? Well, apparently so, because She-Hulk is rumored to return in Avengers Doomsday as Marvel continues to ignore fan feedback. Exactly. They give with one hand because, yeah, okay, having Deadpool in with the rest of the Avengers, I'm sure that there'll be some people that'll be intrigued by that. Hell, last year, Deadpool and Wolverine made over $1 billion. What was it, 1.6 or something like that? So yeah, you'd be silly not to include him, which was why he was so conspicuous with the absence of his chair. Him and Hugh Jackman, though both of them are definitely going to be in it. Like, it's just going to come down to dollars and cents, and at this point in time, it's such a sunk cost fallacy. I don't know what else to tell you. And especially if you're going to be doing dumb stuff like this, outside of, like, there's a way that I could potentially see this working by just bringing together all of those unlikable characters that have been introduced in phases 4 and 5. And even, you know, if you just sneak back a little bit, you know, grab up some of those other unsavory characters as well. And then to really establish Doom, he goes out there and he snaps the neck of She-Hulk. He crushes Cassie Lang. He sends Shang-Chi off into another dimension. That would all be great. Could we just go ahead and, you know, just do that? Could that be Doom's introduction? But I've also seen something else that he is supposed to be the main character of the movie, because hell, we don't really know what the Avengers look like. We don't know what the team is supposed to be. We don't even know what the teams are going to be outside of, yeah, you can imagine all of the old X-Men are going to be together. The Fantastic Four will be over there being fantastic or something like that, especially if Pedro Pascal's and little glow-up poles are involved. And then you've got, well, whatever kind of, you know, mumbling, stumbling retards you have that are the new Avengers or whatever the hell asterisks you want to put on them. And so if you're building up to this big reset, soft reboot, hard reboot, whatever the hell you want to call it after Secret Wars, by getting rid of those failed characters, I mean, that'd be a great way to go about things. Focusing on Doom, having him being a big badass to set him up as a competent threat because you've done a fuck all with him to set him up as the big bad for the Avengers. That would make sense. That would be all right. So it's absolutely not what they're going to do. On August 13th, okay, a rumor first exclusively reported by That Park Place in March of 2025, resurfaced via insider Alex Perez on Cosmic Circus, suggesting that Tatiana Maslany will reprise her role as Jennifer Walters, in the upcoming Doomsday movie, film, clusterfuck, whatever we want to call it. While Marvel Studios has yet to confirm this, the speculation has ignited fierce debate online, with many fans expressing outright dread. I mean, if Marvel was in a good place and simply She-Hulk was a blight on their record, yeah, I could get behind that whole blight. But at this point in time, man, just bring on the stupid, because we know you're not going to make a good movie. There's a little bit of hope out there for Spider-Man to be decent next year, but yeah, as for Doomsday, no, man, this is just going to be a dumpster fire that a lot of people are going to watch, because we all do like a good car crash every now and again, and this is really what it seems like. You just keep on throwing more characters that at this point in time, unless the movie is like 4 hours long, everybody's going to get a line and then they're going to get their neck snapped. And in the case of She-Hulk, you kind of hope that it's going to be a recurring gag, where every time Doctor Doom goes around to a different team to menace them or set something up, like he just does a cutaway by bringing in a different multiverse version of She-Hulk and does something horrific to her. That would be great. That would be fun. And like I said before, of course they're not going to do anything fun or great. It's just going to be slop of the highest accord, and you know what? It's going to be fun to watch. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.